Okay, recording this video is Sunday 24th of November 2013. Hope you had a good week's trading. I had a pretty ordinary week's trading. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday were good, but Monday and Friday were pretty crap. So all in all, didn't really feel like putting out a video during the week, and I'm not going to fill up your inboxes if I've got nothing specific to say. But we've got the weekend charts, the weekly charts to look at, and I think there's some interesting things kind of going on, so I'll rip through those. It's a little bit of a continuation of last weekend's video, and just, you know, we've moved a little bit in terms of direction. It's worth just catching up on those. So first of all, British pound, which is my current favorite. I've been talking about this kind of ripping to new highs and breaking out of this long-term resistance on the British pound, and we're having a go. And here's the reason why we're having a go. So last week we put in this blue professional bar. This is the professionals kind of anxious to pick up this low. We've been in this kind of channel bouncing off the lows of these blue professional bars, and they wanted to grab it there, so they kind of jumped on board. And now we've broken above resistance on a daily chart. We're now above resistance on a daily chart and above resistance on the weekly chart, with no blue professional bars kind of taking profits at the highs. The exhaustion pattern that we have on the weekly chart, it was getting this move going. It was kind of way back. It signaled back here, so it's not happened on a left shoulder or anything like that. So I think this is going to surprise some people. We're going to have a little bit of strength in the British pound, and because we've been coiled up in this kind of trading range for a while, I think we could go some places. So that for me is kind of pretty interesting. The euro chart. So the euro, we kind of bounced off this big blue professional bar. I think this was a Draghi announcement, and we came right back up to the top of that blue professional bar, and then had another blue professional down bar. And so it was kind of unclear where we were going on this until we got some resolution from this kind of break. And you can see that the down move that we've had, we've come all the way back up. So the lows of these blue professional bars, the last couple, are holding, and we could be breaking out above 136 into a strong move on the euro. Again, we did have this U-turn in the euro, so 38 is going to be absolutely key kind of going forward. So we could spend quite a lot of time from now to 38 trying to figure out what we're going to do. And this bullish divergence has happened right by the zero line, and I always say look for a flush pattern when we see something like that. So a flush pattern would mean we'll have another kind of bout of fairly severe selling at some point. So I'm not waiting for this thing to break above 38 quite yet, because I think we've got to see that to clear everybody out in order just to have a decent move in the euro going forward. Now, the yen, we've been on this massive downward tear on the yen. I've said watch out. We've had pullback to end of trend, kind of exhaustion patterns on left shoulders, bullish divergence, all that kind of stuff. But the commitment of traders has been down, down, down on this thing. So there's no reason to be jumping into a long yen trade, even after we've seen this kind of bottoming activity. And then the last activity that we saw, parity or just above parity, was absolutely key. We've broken into a downtrend now because we're below support on the daily chart here. So this has got to play out. This has got to play out, pull back to end of trend. At some point we'll get cyclical support on the weekly chart here, and we're coming back down to the previous lows down here, 97s. So let's see what happens. We need to see blue professional bars kind of coming in, but we've got to put in pullback to end of trend for this energy on the daily chart to get fully exhausted before this thing stands a chance of having a rally back. And then we've still got the commitment of traders numbers that have got to start to go the other way. So yen broke down through support. We're in a downtrend on this, but look out. At some point we'll start to see pullback to end of trend signals, but we're a long way off it yet. Aussie dollar. Now again, Aussie dollar talked last weekend about this. We tried back to get back up to the parity level. That was that blue professional bar up at 97. Bang, they sold it down. Again, same thing with the yen chart and the Aussie chart. We're below cyclical support here, so we're in a downtrend. This little move, Rambo pattern, we kicked back up. Support becomes resistance. We played straight off this, back down, bang. So blue professional bar Thursday continuing down on the way down. This is just showing the strength of the selling down in this move. And now on the weekly chart we got our cyclical resistance kind of in due. This is going to wrap over, so we'll have cyclical energy on the way down on the weekly chart, as we've also got breaking into a downtrend on the daily chart here. So this is not all over, because we've not seen exhaustion selling on the downside. We've not seen blue professional bars, at the lows. We've seen this is blue professional bars getting short on this move. It's not picking it up as we went through those lows. So I'm looking for the Aussie dollar to break through 90 again and into the 80s. So let's see where that kind of heads next. All of these things, they bounce around, I tend to find when I put out a video, what I say is the market tends to go against me for a couple of days after I kind of come out with a video, and I start thinking, oh, have I got this totally wrong? And then eventually, like this week, kind of comes good, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and all kind of rolls into place. And you just have to take a long-term view on this. But this is what's kind of key in the Aussie dollar. We've not had our bottom put in yet with exhaustion, blue professional bars, and we've got this cyclical energy on the weekly chart kind of wrapping in. So we've started on the way down here, but all of a sudden that's going to come in. It's going to get exciting on the Aussie. Looney's trying to find a little bit of support. This was Friday's bar, and we kind of, again, we're below support on the daily chart, so we're breaking into a downtrend here. That was quite a strong kind of push back up on the Friday's kind of move, and down here at these 94s is an important level. We've got cyclical support. I'm less convinced that the Canadian and Aussie tend to move together, commodity currencies, all that kind of stuff, but the move down in the Canadian is not as strong as it is in the Aussie, so I'm less kind of convinced about the speed of the downtrend on Canadian, so we'll just kind of have to wait and see there. Now lastly, so dollar index, we have to put all of that into kind of context, and you've got a couple of things going on, and I spoke about this over the last couple of months, that there's a divergence happening in the currencies. So normally we think about currencies kind of risk on and risk off, and the risk on currencies are the European currencies, we've got Brazilian real, all the kind of exotics, Aussie dollar, Canadian dollar, and so on. And on the other side, the kind of risk off is US dollar. But what we've got is we've got the pound and the euro acting strongly. We got the yen and the Aussie acting weakly. So what's the dollar index? The dollar index is kind of the sum of all of those. The weighting is towards the euro, heavily towards the euro, and then we've got the Swiss franc, which is pegged to the euro, so that kind of adds to the whole kind of picture. So if we got the euro starting to strengthen, you'd expect the dollar index to start to weaken. But it's a combination, because we've got the yen and the Aussie dollar also weakening. So the dollar index is kind of a combination of larger positions that are doing well and some small positions that are doing poorly. So dollar index I think is going to start to weaken, but it's not going to be strong because we've still got the yen and the Aussie kind of in that mix. I hope that kind of makes sense. Blue professional bars, the last ones on the daily charts, the important ones. We couldn't get through the highs of that. We're coming back to the lows of that. At some point we'll get the cyclical tone kind of wrap in here, and that'll force this down. And we've not seen blue professional bars or exhaustion selling on the downside here. We've just been bouncing off these Rambo patterns kind of up at the moment. So I could see us just weakening, but it's not going to be as kind of faster move as we're seeing, for example, in the yen, something like that. I just think it's going to be slowly rolling over, because we've got some currencies that are part of the mix that are doing worse than the dollar index. So that's thoughts on dollar index. So then let's go to gold and silver, because they're kind of anti US dollar. And again, talking about this, there was a point at which the gold and silver market were looking like they were trying to find a bottom. I said, wait, because we've got this cyclical resistance to play in, the pullback to end of trend on the weekly chart, and this is what's been causing all of this. We had an amateur up bar into that. That's amateurs getting into this move way too early. They thought a double bottom here will buy it, a breakout above 1300 and so on. No. Just came into resistance, kind of played back down. So this has got to play out, pull back to end of trend. We've also broken through support on the daily chart, so potentially a move into a downtrend on the daily chart here, but quite a lot of blue professional bars. And down here at 1200, it's an important level on the way down. So that's why the blue professional bars are starting to get interested around this level. I could see us going for a spike. What's the low? 1180, kind of the low. So going for a spike and get everybody kind of just all the amateurs kind of just totally exasperated with this market and just kind of give up that kind of capitulation type volume. So they could easily kind of play with that level on the way down, but they're starting to get interested. This has still got to go pullback to end of trend. We've still got to put in our little pullback to end of trends and then start to break up to the upside on gold and silver. But from what I see, we're starting to get that interest back in at the lows here. Here's silver, same thing. A lot of blue professional bars coming in. We're in a downtrend. We've traveled quite a long way past support. This has got to run pullback to end of trend on the way down here, and we've got quite a lot of time to run in terms of pullback to end of trend. And again, the low down here is 1820. So again, start to play with people's feelings as we break to those lows. Will cause that kind of capitulation volume. So it's starting to get interesting here, but we've just got to let it play itself out. I'm not trying to catch a bottom or anything like that here. We just want to see that play itself out and then wait for the consolidation and then the break into a reversal uptrend. But it's starting, from what I'm seeing on the blue professional bars on the daily charts, to get interesting. So let's keep watching that. Okay. We've got bonds here, 30-year bond, and this isn't a downtrend, again, because we put in this big pattern, pullback to end of trend during 2012, and then first bearish divergence and a flush pattern here. So we're definitely in a downtrend. We had all these blue professional bars at the highs and so on. The reason we're still in a downtrend, we've not had exhaustion selling on a left shoulder, we've not had blue professional bars kind of coming at the lows, but we're certainly hanging around here. And daily chart here, you can see blue professional bar, we bounce off a Rambo pattern, come back into that zone, we come down again, we break the lows of that blue professional bar, but then another blue professional bar kind of steps in and we bounce back into that zone. So we're holding above this cyclical support at the moment. It'll need to go back down at some point, but out of this we could see a little bit of strength and start to kind of come back a little bit. The equities is overbought, bonds are oversold, so we could have a small move into bonds out of equities over the next couple of weeks, but kind of just wait and see on this. Definitely my feelings are on the weekly chart we're still in the downtrend, but this activity is catching us a little bit. And then on the shorter term, so this is the 10-year, that was the 30-year. The 10-year, it's an even stronger pattern here. You can see, we hardly moved past that blue professional bar. Same thing, we came into the zone there again. Blue professional bars kind of pick it up here. We bounce back into that zone. Again, it's not over. 10-year chart, pull back to end of trend. We had all these good patterns, exhaustion, bearish divergence, flush, and so on, and we've not had the exhaustion. It was a big selling down bar, but not exhaustion. No blue professional bars at the lows, so we could just have a little, some strength until the blue professional bars maybe come back in on the weekly chart and kind of force that in. So let's kind of wait and see, but that's holding a little bit at the moment on the daily chart. So let's just see how that kind of plays out. Crude. Now, today, Sunday, apparently they've done this deal with Iran on the nuclear weapons, and they're starting to liberalize that kind of potentially, Iraqi crude kind of coming into the crude global market. I don't know what impact this is going to have. Presumably that's going to force down kind of crude prices because it's extra supply kind of coming in. So I'm a little bit wary because I'm long crude at the moment and taking a beating on it. So I'm a little bit wary as to what will happen on the open on Sunday, Monday on crude. But you never know. They might view the news as positive for crude, so kind of wait and see. Certainly on the daily chart, we've got an exhaustion selling on a left shoulder, we've got first bullish divergence, blue professional bar, and then a test down with an amateur down bar, and we've bounced off that. So that's kind of good at 94 that we've got some kind of support. It's got to run back up into a pullback in a downtrend kind of signal on the daily chart. Cyclical support's kind of due on the weekly chart. So there's a chance that we'll head back up. But we've got to go through some testing. We've got to go through that pullback to end of trend, and I'm a little bit wary of the news when this market opens. It's what the Iraqi deal kind of does for crude. So, it's hurting me at the moment. But again, the commitment of traders is so, for this market kind of continuing to break to new highs. That's why I'm really kind of still in it. Copper's pretty weak. I know we bounced off this blue professional bar and exhaustion kind of down here. We've got cyclical support to kind of come in, pull back to end of trend at some point. but we didn't make it through 333. I think we've got to do a lot more, kind of testing, pull back to end of trend on the daily chart, because we're through support, we're under a downtrend here. So, and the commitment of traders is not supporting a rally in crude at the moment. So, it's just got to wait there and see what happens. Lastly, E-mini. So, again, broken to new highs. I mean, one of the reasons why I'm a little, there's nothing much to say. When we were making nice moves, kind of nice swings in the market, swing trading was like, we were going through 5 to 7 day type swings up and down and up and down. It's kind of fun to try and pick where those support areas are, resistance areas are, and so on. But this thing's just breaking up and breaking up and breaking up. And the last time we had a little bit of weakness, kind of here, blue professional bars kind of came in, and the last weakness we had was blue professional bars. There was no selling going on here, nothing at all. This is a daily chart, continuous contract day and night, no selling going on. No one's selling this market. So. And no blue professional bars at the highs on the daily or the weekly chart. So there's no kind of obvious profit taking that's kind of going on to these highs. And we broke up to 1800 this week. We took our time about it and kind of crept into it over on the Monday and on the Friday. But we're kind of continuing to break up. It's a little bit exhausted. It's a little bit kind of overbought at the moment. Let me just show you this on the tip bar charts. So on the tip bar chart, the 40,500, we've got exhaustion with Friday's activity, kind of breaking into 1800, and but we're above resistance on all three time frames. So 4,500, 13,500, 40,000. We're above resistance on each of these time frames. So we've got to put in our pullback to end of trend sequences, starting with this time frame, then this, and then this, before the thing kind of starts to find a left shoulder and rolls over and so on. So the trend is to the upside. So Hugh Hendry was talking about this with a piece that kind of came out on the weekend. Just it's in an uptrend. So I think we will find a little bit of weakness. It'll kind of come off some at some point because we're overbought. But there's no signs that there's a real turn in the market happening anytime soon, because we've not seen blue professional bars at the highs. This is what we need to see in order to see weakness, and we've got to see that on the weekly chart. We've not seen an up weekly blue professional bar forever on the weekly chart. So it's a little dull, kind of that's kind of going on all the time. So, but we'll wait and see. I love playing the downside. We had a couple of downside moves this week, which were fun. It was enjoyable, but at the moment, just the overall tenor is just to kind of keep on breaking up until we see proper profit taking at the highs. So you have to just assume that's the general flow. There will be down days. There always will be down days, but the general flow at the moment I still see is up. Anyway, hope that was helpful to you. So some interesting things to look for in the next week or two. And again, if I get my kind of video mojo back, I'll put some videos up on the site this week. So I hope your trading is going well.